people around Charleston, there's artists that they act like they're on already. They act like they're famous just because they're in Charleston. That ain't shit, really. I mean, if you really want to grind and get that money, but not just do it for that, because I've been doing it so long, I don't just do it for that. I'm gonna do music whether I get money or not, because I love music. It's just a part of me. Yeah, this your boy 40 Ounce. We in the studio with So Exquisite Charleston magazine. Check it out. I got the name from Old English, 40 ounces, the beer, because I used to buy them by the case. I mean, 24 would come in a case. I would just buy cases of 40 ounces, and everybody I knew, just every time they seen me, I had a 40 ounce in my hand. So that's how I got the name 40 ounce. I fell in love with music way before even I got into hip hop. Because growing up, I remember one specific time with my grandparents. We went on a trip to Disney World from Chicago, and they were big country music fans, or they still are. And we stopped back by and we went to Loretta Lynn's house. Went to a lot of record stores, and I got my first Elvis album, and that's, I think, where it started. We went to the Grand Ole Opry, but that's where I fell in love with music. And even going back to the later 70s, just when I was a kid, I just loved what music does. It makes you feel. It gives you emotion, and it's an art form. Because I've always been big on art. I used to draw as a kid. But then when I got into hip hop, let me see. When I got into hip hop, it was really pretty much at its early stage when I got into it. DJ still had 2 turntables and a mixer. There wasn't no internet, computers, wasn't nothing like that. So, but what made me want to be behind the scenes was pretty much trial and error. It's just, when I started out writing, just being in love with the art of MCing, that aspect of hip hop. And from there, after that, I visited my friend who was my mentor, who got me started in St. Louis. He got me, he introduced me to the production side of everything. I seen him make music and just create it from nothing, from sampling old vinyl records and just making the beat, and I fell in love with that instantly. So then I went to that. Then I linked up with some people here in Charleston, then I got introduced to promotions for big record labels. So I've been on tour. I've done pretty much management, every aspect almost of the game. And production is probably what I connected with most, because that's the way that I can bring out something original that I have inside my head, and I can turn it into a business. Yeah, well when I first came to Charleston, you could count on one hand how many rap groups there were. I remember Skip Scheme, Double D, and D and Ice. That's a good friend of mine still to this day, is DJ Ice, Vince. And You know, has it changed? I don't think it's just music though, because everything's changing. I mean, you know, the culture of hip hop, the people that's been there a long time, like me, can look at music today. There's a lot of good things, but then there's a lot of negative things too. Like I was just explaining to my daughter before you came here, I just showed her a good friend of mine in New York. He posted that cipher with Lil Uzi Vert and that double XL freshman cipher. And then I seen a lot of different people online comment about it. I mean, it's the same thing when we were young, what our parents thought the music was garbage, and you know, we grew up. I remember getting my first 2 Live Crew record. I mean, you didn't even want to listen to that. You almost wanted to run and hide somewhere and listen to that with, you know, without your parents hearing it, or my first Eazy-E record. But yeah, the game, it's changing, but I think that's changing with everything. I mean, it's going to keep changing. There's absolutely a lot more genres. I mean, there's more and more genres just growing. And somebody mentioned, I think it was Cassidy, who was online, and he said they need to take a lot of the newer rappers and have their own genre. Call it mumble rap or something like that. But I mean, you know, if that's what the younger generation, if that's what they want to listen to, I mean, I don't see anything wrong with it, but I understand where he's coming from. You can't take something that, you know, people created and it's starting to change for the worse, and a lot of the old heads don't like the direction that it's going. So, you know, a lot of stuff selling now, you know, they're making money. I mean, you know, if it's something positive for them, I don't see anything wrong with it, but I still wouldn't classify a lot of music that's out today as hip hop though. You know, I think I would probably agree that, you know, they can, you know, have another genre or call it something else. But everyone's got their own opinion. I mean, that's the way I look at it. I don't see, there's nothing wrong with it. But I don't see a lot of it as hip hop. And as far as the local scene, there's a lot of talent in Charleston. And I've worked with pretty much everyone in Charleston. You know, if I'm not currently working with them, I've worked with them or done something with them. But the one thing that stands out in my head about that, a lot of artists will come to record here and they'll say, do you know anybody that can sing? They want to get like somebody singing on the hook or something like that. And I mean, we're in Charleston, and you know how many churches are in Charleston, and some of the greatest singers in the world are just in your local church. And I mean, that's where all the most beautiful voices come from, you know, in my opinion. So I mean, there's people that can sing. You know, there's some great gospel artists. Because I'm influenced by every kind of music. You know, I'm not just into rap or hip hop. I mean, I keep up with what's going on, but you know, I listen to classical, country, jazz, blues. You know, I'm influenced by a lot of different things. But as far as the local scene right now, I don't think it's just with music, because a lot of the younger kids are coming up. I think, you know, a lot of kids are kind of different as far as having, you know, their morals. A lot of kids, you know, don't even respect anybody or their elders. There's a lot of kids, and you know, there's just some of them are cocky, and every artist that comes here, you know, I mean, they can do a rap about what they want, but I love to see when an artist just tries to stay humble. Like the few artists I've been working with for a long time. But yeah, a lot of the artists around here, it's just with technology, you know, back in the day, you had to work hard. Like for me, you know, if I wanted a piece of equipment or something like that, I had to wait and work hard and save up, you know, to get something, which is going to pretty much make you value it, and you know, you're going to take care of it. And with the internet and everything coming so fast, and you know, just instantly, even with production, you can download drum packs and, you know, just take those, and there's already samples laid out in a pack where you just stack drums on it and there's your song. That, you know, I think a lot of it's losing originality and creativity. You know, it's just stacking a bunch of sounds, but that's not everybody. But you know, that's where I think a lot of the what helped create the culture of hip hop was, you know, was almost like you had to make something out of nothing, which you didn't have. DJs, they just found the break in records and just use that, playing it back and forth, and somebody rapped on it. That was their way of making a beat. And you know, nowadays it's just instant, and I think that just takes a lot of the value, or you know, a lot of people don't put in as much hard work as they had to do back, you know, back when I started. So but yeah, there's a lot of Charleston has a lot of great talent, but the game also on the other side, the internet made the game it's just flooded right now. There's just so much music out. There's still a lot of great artists, but you know, back in the day, say Big Pun, Wu-Tang, everybody had an album coming out and all the magazines focused on it and everyone was waiting on it. But now, you know, that's still there, but you just got to go look for it, or know where to find it. You just got to dig through a lot of shit to get to it. To me, I mean, hip hop, I mean, it's more than just music, though. You know, it's a whole culture. But I mean, it's, you know, there's, you know, back in the day it was fashion. You know, you dressed a certain way, and you had graffiti. There was art, you know, involved with it, and you know, of course, the music. But hip hop to me, I don't even think a lot of Southern music would even be considered hip hop, actually, because right about, I think, let's see, when Dr. Dre and Snoop, when they had the whole East-West Coast thing, you know, everything was West Coast. And then before that it was New York, and really when everything started coming down south was pretty much Outkast. Kind of set the bar for all the South and brought everything down to Atlanta. And you know, a lot of it's still in the culture, but you know, if it's just the combination of things, but you can't dress hip hop and you know be a real creative person and then just go mumbling on a mic. I don't because a lot of artists, they say they just think all you need is a hard ass beat and that's it. And you know, you might be able to luck up and, you know, get one hit or do this and that, but you're not gonna have respect of real hip hop and the people that's in the hip hop community. That's just my opinion. I think Nas and Soulja Boy had a little something going on one time about, he said something about the military or something, and you know, it's crazy because Soulja Boy, even though he could have put an album out the exact same time as Nas and blew his numbers out of the water. I mean, Soulja Boy, just because of, you know, his connection with the younger generation. But you could go anywhere in music, and as far as authentic hip hop and you know the roots of hip hop, it's not even comparable. I mean, people wouldn't even, you couldn't even compare the two. I mean, like, Nas is like legendary, and you know, ever since Soulja Boy, there's, following that trend, there's just thousands and thousands of artists that came after him. You know, they have the little formula, they have the formula of selling records, appealing to the younger crowd, which is good. You know, I love when especially when younger kids doing something positive, and you know, especially, and then trying to help people. But if it's just certain people, if they want to start talking shit about, you know, hip hop and yeah, this older generation and this and that, and I don't stuff's starting to separate a little more now, because just with some younger kids, you know, getting cocky like that with people that founded, they wouldn't even be doing music if it wasn't for the guys that they're talking shit about. I think it can vary from artist to artist, but you know, if I have a connection with an artist, or you know, I got people that fly here from Boston, and they'll come here, and we'll set an idea, actually more like a topic. We'll just think of a topic, and I'll start creating a melody on the keyboard, and he'll sit over there and write. He'll write to it. We'll just get the tempo, and he'll write to it while I'm creating it. And you know, if he has any input while I'm doing it, we'll say, you know, hey, I hear a hard guitar right there on that part, so then I'll throw that in, and then by the time I'm done, he's done with it, and we did a whole album like that. But I think, you know, first off, you have to have a topic, but I think what music needs a lot more, what I try to do is, you know, stick with kind of like telling a story. You know, that's just one problem with the music that's going on now. Everybody follows a trend, and everyone just kind of has the same sound. But I like to start off, you usually start off in a mood. You know, if you're happy and you want to make a club joint, then of course, you know, me specifically, I would think of like a hook. You got to make the hook's the catchiest part of the song. You know, people could go down the road and love the song. They don't know all the words, but when the hook comes on, they're gonna get loud on the hook part because that's the part they know. So I always try to start with the hook and then make a melody around the hook. You know, some people start with the beat. I do that sometimes. You know, if I find some drums that I like, we'll just make the beat and get the tempo going first. But if you have a little catchy melody going with the hook, actually that's how I did with Molly Ma on that Take Control song. I already had the melody with the guitar riffs and showed it to Marley, let him hear it, and because he did a show at Stone Soul Picnic, and the whole crowd knew every word, and he was going off stage, and I seen a bunch of girls like grabbing, they were trying to pull him over the fence, and I was like, oh man, I said, he needs to do a song for the girls, you know, not no shake your ass and something like that, just for the girls, like talk to the women, you know, and that's where the idea came from. So then I knew Amore, so we all came in and we started going through melodies for the hook all together. You know, that wasn't the first hook that just came out, but then it just came together. It's just you got to remain humble, because a lot of artists that come to record here, a lot of them know I have connections with, you know, major artists and other connections. You know, I've worked with a lot of major artists, but all the artists that are big and, you know, they're the shit now, they were nobodies at one time. So I always have to look out for people up and coming, and, you know, I mean, even though it gets old and repetitious, you know, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. I done heard it all, seen it all, but I also still put myself back in their mind frame, because everyone that's famous now, they used to be nobody, and if you just blow off someone that's nobody and they become a big success, they ain't gonna forget the time you just said, man, get the fuck out of here. You know, what goes around comes around, so you just gotta be, you know, be the same with everybody. The biggest lesson I've learned is the whole game is just smoke and mirrors. It's not what it's cracked up to be. It's not what you see on TV. You know, a lot of people already know this, but you know, everything you see on TV, it looks like a lot of fun and they're doing this, and you don't know that they're renting all the shit for the video. Even the big stars, even like Diddy, a lot of the cars, they don't spend money on ridiculous amounts of money on shit like that just for a video. I was with a major artist a couple of years ago. I mean, I'm not going to say who it is, but it's a major artist, and we're riding around Atlanta, and he's asking for damn gas money with a big ass chain on. I was like, you better go pawn that fucking chain. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. He's living with his baby mama's mom. I was like, damn. But then also on the flip side of that, I know people you would never expect, you know, to be real successful. You would never think they were, and they are. It's just how people present themselves, but the whole game, it's a slimy game. It's dirty, you know. People will shit you in a heartbeat, and with the internet, it's even worse now. I mean, they'll take your money for everything. They selling Facebook, they selling likes and YouTube views and all kind of shit. And as far as the, you know, trying to promote shows and stuff like that, it's just, it's crazy. It's just so crazy. But if you're doing music for the right reasons, if you're doing it because you love to do music, it's, you know, you'll be successful if you just love what you do and you never stop. Even with all the technology out right now, nothing will ever replace hard work. That's all it boils down to. You just gotta get it in, because you know, you're sitting there trying to work and do something, and a lot of artists have this expectation of, oh, back in the day it was, we're going to get a record deal and we're going to get signed by this. The first thing you do, you know, the first rule of thumb used to be, don't never sign the first deal offered to you. And that could be the biggest mistake of your life. There's a group that I was with, we signed a deal, and actually just by a time period we kind of got out of a lawsuit because of that. But you might get an advance even if you get signed to a label, but pretty much I guarantee it, 9 times out of 10 that's all the money you're ever going to get. You know, if you get $50,000 up front for an advance, even for a label, once they spend all this money on a video and, you know, promotions and all that, that all just, it comes out of your pocket at the end of the day. And if they put out your album and they don't make that money back, they're going to sue you and you're going to have to end up paying it. So that's pretty much where the independent game, you know, took off. The labels are pretty much non-existent now, but there's still a lot of people that don't know that. They just have this big dream that, all right, we're going to get signed by this big company. And you know, you have artists that's doing it. Even like the #1 independent in the world right now, I think is still Tech N9ne. I just did some stuff for him and his label, and it's independent. So that's pretty much where I think it, you know, where you're going to get the best results. Is just work hard, you know, do your research, and, you know, don't let TV and videos and a lot of the fake stories online, you know, get you all hyped up. Just work hard and focus on what you do, and you'll never work a day in your life. That's what they say. If you love what you do, because I love what I do, so I don't really look at it like work. The only thing that makes it work is just, you know, just the time thing. You just get so busy and just dealing with so many people. But other than that, just you got to be doing it for the right reasons.